A court has ruled that FCT workers must go back to work. The minister threatened to use the big stick if they don't. So some of them went back to work, but they're still upset because their demands aren't being met. But the FCT minister says most of their demands have been met, and this protest has other motivations. It's a mess. We'll show you more in our focus on the FCT. And the Nigeria Labour Congress, who sent a solidarity message to the striking FCT workers after that industrial court judgment, joins us tonight to share some perspectives on the Nigerian government worker. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. The president is in Turkey, marketing us to the world as he should, signing 9 bilateral agreements. But there are those who say he travels too much. Meanwhile, the Senate is discussing Nigeria's territorial integrity, and findings by Nigeria's military have identified a number of officers with allegations of plotting to overthrow the government. And they say those with cases to answer will be formally arraigned before appropriate military judicial panels to face trial. Here's our Abuja wrap.
Vice President Kashim Shettima returned to Abuja after a week-long diplomatic and economic mission to Guinea-Conakry and Switzerland. A statement by Senior Special Assistant on Media and Communication, Mr. Stanley Nkwata, said Vice President Shettima arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on Saturday after representing President Bola Tinubu at the inauguration of Guinea's President Mamadi Doumbouya and leading Nigeria's delegation to the 56th World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos. The Vice President believed the trip is part of Nigeria's renewed commitment to regional solidarity in West Africa and its determination to reposition the economy under President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Vice President Shettima had departed Abuja for Conakry, where he attended President Doumbouya's inauguration, reaffirming Nigeria's leadership role within ECOWAS while opening new pathways for bilateral cooperation in agriculture and manufacturing. From Guinea-Conakry, Senator Shettima proceeded to Davos, Switzerland, where he led the Nigerian delegation at the WEF 2026. President Bola Tinubu departed Abuja for a scheduled state visit to the Republic of Turkey. The president was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by a delegation led by the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuri Badu, and other government officials. According to the presidency, the state visit was aimed at strengthening the existing cordial relations between the two countries and exploring further areas of cooperation in security, education, social development, innovation, and aviation. During President Tinubu's visit, both countries were to engage in strategic political and diplomatic discussion on shared values in finance, communication, trade, and investment. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of the Republic of Turkey has promised to assist Nigeria in its fight against terrorism, given his country's history in tackling insurgency. President Erdogan stated this at a joint press briefing with President Bola Tinubu in the course of the state visit of the Nigerian president to Turkey. The Turkish president also reaffirmed his country's commitment to a $5 billion trade volume target with Nigeria. Both countries signed 9 bilateral agreements. And on the sideline of President Bola Tinubu's visit, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, has disclosed that the defense agreement signed with the Republic of Turkey is expected to help the border protection initiative of the President Bola Tinubu's administration. The minister was in Ankara, Turkey, as part of President Tinubu's delegation on the state visit to the country. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, also shed more light on the benefits of the agreement signed.
Welcome back. After the ruling of the National Industrial Court ordering the FCT Joint Union Action Congress to suspend their industrial action immediately, the FCT minister dug in his heels, accusing the protests of being politically motivated and vowing to punish anyone who doesn't show up for work. Tonight, we go back to the beginning of this debacle to give you an idea of how it all started and where we are in this situation between the FCT minister and the staff who work in his ministry. Last week at the Federal Capital Development Authority complex, which houses most of the agencies under the Ministry of the FCT, workers under the ministry shut down government activities over unpaid promotion arrears, among other labor issues. The workers under the Joint Union Action Congress demanded payment of outstanding promotion arrears and wage awards, conduct and release of stalled promotion exercises, cessation of service extensions for retired directors and permanent secretaries, remittance of pension contributions and National Housing Fund NHF deductions, addressing the mass failure reportedly 77.5% in the 2024 promotion examinations.
So many glitches happen, ranging from power failure, overcrowdiness, invalid logging and all, and we called their attention to it, but nothing was done. And before we know it, they gave us a 22.5% success rate. And we know that we are not done in the FCT, and we know that this is not what should be. So it's part of our agitation. Another of our agitation is the wage award, which has not been paid. When we started talking about this, they decided to pay one month for every staff against the 5 months. They paid the hazard allowance for the health and medical workers, the 13 months, which is part of our grievance.
The strike followed the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum issued on January the 7th, 2026 by the workers. They insisted that all workers should stay away from work across the 6 area councils.
Before now, we have had meetings with the DSS who are fronting for the security. And you know, FCT is volatile right now. The elections for the area councils are by the corner. So many people are having their agitations. And so we don't even want staff to come to work. For we that are here are representative of the staff, and we want it as peaceful as possible. And that is why it is this way, sir. And if you can see there's total compliance. Staff are not coming to work. If you go around, staff are not at work.
In response, the FCT administration clarified that most of the workers' demands have been met. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister, Mr. Lere Olayinka, states that, quote, 10 out of the 14 demands of the workers that are on strike have been met, end quote. The statement describes the strike as unnecessary, ill-motivated, and aiming at achieving other purposes. Fast forward to the 27th of January 2026, a crowd of workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, were at the premises of the National Industrial Court, displaying different placards, protesting their unpaid allowances, welfare grievances, among other complaints. They were there to witness the court proceedings instituted by the FCT minister, who's seeking to stop their strike. The Nigerian police led security agencies to ensure there is no breakdown of law and order. Inside the courtroom, the counsel wait for the start of the proceedings. The FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, had filed a lawsuit seeking an order to compel FCTA workers to resume work after going on strike, which is due to unresolved welfare grievances, including 5 months of unpaid wages, long withheld promotion arrears, and poor working conditions. However, counsel for the minister, Mr. Ogu Onoja, stressed that the ongoing FCTA workers' strike is illegal, stating that it contradicts Sections 4 and 6 of the Trade Dispute Act. He states that the employees should not embark on a strike when a matter has been referred to the court.
The application for joinder is not right. It was filed today. And even if it's going to move, we are going to oppose seriously. Because this is a situation where we are saying that the people that called the strike are not, they don't have juristic personality. They are not registered under the CAMA, and they are not registered under the Trade Union Act. So because of that, we are going to oppose any joinder, because you cannot join something to something that does not exist. In law, the two people that the JWAC and the president and the secretary are not recognized under the Trade Union Act. That's why we're objecting. And now today we'll move the motion for interlocutory injunction, and then it's adjourned till tomorrow for ruling.
Counsel for the defendants, Mr. Maxwell Okpara, stated that it would be risky to order the striking workers to resume work. He also stated that there is no form of mediation currently underway to resolve the dispute.
This particular time is wasting in court trying to intimidate workers. Is it not enough to talk to workers? People have tried to mediate. You refuse. With the mentality of that FCT is your state. This FCT is not a reverse. So, but we established before the court, we said what we expected them to do is to apply that the court should refer this matter to mediation. But they were interested on calling off the strike. And we are not saying that if you call off the strike, you want an angry, hungry man to go and start off work. And we are saying that it's even more dangerous.
Justice Emmanuel Sobilim adjourned the case to March 25 for ruling on the application. Following the court judgment, the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) sent a solidarity message to the striking workers of the Federal Capital Territory, whom the Industrial Court has ordered to suspend their actions. They described the ruling as surprising and distasteful. A statement by the Acting General Secretary of the NLC, Mr. Benson Upa, urges the workers not to allow their hearts to be broken, as the court ruling cannot weaken the resolve of already injured workers. The statement also faulted the court for failing to look into the allegations brought forward by the workers, including allegations of non-remittances of National Housing Fund and pension deductions. The statement further puts on notice organizations and individuals violating the provisions of the Pensions Fund Act and National Housing Fund Act for a serious engagement with the NLC. The statement also asked workers and organs of the NLC to be on high alert over this recent development. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, on his part, is vowing to discipline any worker that fails to show up for duty from Wednesday, January the 28th, 2026. The minister gave the warning during a media briefing following the ruling of the National Industrial Court, which ordered the FCT Joint Union Action Congress to suspend the industrial action immediately. He also warned against any form of protest or attempt to block the entrance of the FCT administration headquarters. While stating that the strike is politically motivated, the minister explains that his administration has commenced the payment of the FCT workers' wages.
The administration has reasonably met the demands of the workers. Initially, we didn't go to court. We believe that they need to dialogue, that they need to sit down and talk. But when we saw that politicians have been able to hijack the strike, and we felt that we can't fold our arms and we have to go to court. When they talk about wages, and that's why they don't tell the public the truth. 5.something billion, and I say, listen, acting head of service, the permanent secretary treasury, let's start paying. We pay December, we are going to pay January. But if they by February, would have, how would you now say no? You can't intimidate the administration, blackmail anybody. I had somebody say yesterday, oh, the workers were chasing me away. Where was that? I was in the office here. I finished working. After the time I came into the office, there was nobody at the gate. I left to the airport to see Mr. President travel to Turkey. Came back. I've given them the window. You can see me in office today. For tomorrow, if you don't come to work, we are going to apply the big stick. And from tomorrow, if you see anybody who says, oh, he wants to block the gate, we'll make you a scapegoat. The law must take its place.
The next day, early images from the headquarters of the Federal Capital Territory Administration indicate that work has resumed. Though workers are seen trickling in, a high presence of security operatives can still be seen parked just across the gate of the Secretariat. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has applied for a National Industrial Court order to commit the striking workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration to prison over their alleged disobedience of the court order. The FCT minister has obtained Form 48, a legal document of the court which spells out the consequences of violating the order of court to be served on the striking workers. The Form 48 is titled Notice of Consequence of Disobedience of Order of Court and will be followed with contempt charges. It reads, quote, "Take note that unless you obey the directions contained in the order of Honorable Justice E.D. Sublimi of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria, delivered 27th day of January 2026, you will be guilty of contempt of court and will be liable to be committed to prison." End quote. The notice of consequence of disobedience of order of court dated January 29 was signed by the Registrar of the Industrial Court, Olajide Balogun. Although the striking workers predicated their resumption on the notice of appeal filed at the Court of Appeal against the ruling of Justice Sublimi, Wike's legal team rejected the claim. The legal team of Onoja SAN maintains that unless there's an express order of court staying the execution of the industrial court ruling, the workers have no basis to resume the strike and avoid incurring the wrath of the courts. My guest tonight is the Acting General Secretary of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Mr. Benson Upah. He was the person who wrote that letter of solidarity to the striking workers, as you saw in our report, faulting the court for failing to examine the allegations brought forward by the workers themselves, including claims of non-remittances of the National Housing Fund and pension deductions. Furthermore, organizations and individuals violating the provisions of the Pension Fund Act and the National Housing Fund Act have also been put on notice. Please watch this. Mr. Benson Upah.
Yes.
Welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much, Kayla.
I saw the statement that you sent in solidarity to the FCTA workers.
Yes.
And you said the Nigerian Labour Congress should be on high alert.
Yes.
Why solidarity in this particular matter, considering the fact that the FCT minister has been saying that he's not owing anybody a dime?
Well, that is the more reason why a solidarity is not only necessary but urgent, because he speaks in deficit of truth.
How so?
I tell you this. One, the primary issues at stake are non-remittances of pension funds, a national housing fund. There are provisions in the two acts spelling out penalties for an employer who deducts contributions and refuses to remit. I don't need to go to the details of what the penalties are. So he's been committing an offense. This is about monetary offense, financial offense, okay?
Wait, this...
Just a moment.
Did this start under the Wike administration?
It didn't start under... Some started under him. Some didn't start under him.
Okay.
I'm not here to castigate Wike or the minister. I'm only going to state the facts as they are. I am not a jaundiced or a malicious speaker. I give you the facts as I know them. Mm-hmm. The other complaints by our members have been intimidation, unlawful elongation of tenure of people who should have left service, non-payment of wage awards. Only 1 month has been paid out of the 5 months. Promotion distortions. Our promotions have not been running as they ought to run. Centralization of pay points, leading to confusion, irregularities in the SDS. Lack of access to the Honorable Minister and his executive in order for workers to ventilate their feelings, brief him on certain sensitive matters. Non-payment of the enforcement staff, those who keep Abuja free of hawkers and the rest. They have not been paid for 1 year, and the AEPB, Abuja Environmental People have not been paid for 5 months. No wonder you go around, you see garbage in the city, smelly streets and all of that. And non-release of overheads. And this has arrested the work in the FCDA. No release of overheads. And this has caused other consequential damages like master canals being blocked, manholes being compromised, and all of that. And we sometimes have untreated water. You are aware, recently there was a disconnection at Usuma Dam and related bodies of water that ensure we have pipe-borne water when we need it. For one day, one full day, water did not run in the whole of this city. Why? Because energy was disconnected. Why should that happen? And then, you know the implications of taking untreated water. Aside from that, the other complaints of workers in FCDA include the killing of the tourism department. Some countries rely entirely on tourism, and Abuja has good potential. Look at the rolling hills. Look at the alluring valleys and this cerulean sky. You know, that department is completely killed.
When you say killed, what does that mean? Were they disbanded?
No vote, no nothing. In fact, let me tell you this. The arts and culture the department could not even go for the national festival last year. Okay? And there have been lack of meetings and consultations. A public office runs on meetings and consultations. So we have critical issues as very serious issues.
Is he aware?
The minister of FCT ought to be aware. And then one other issue I must point out to you. You notice the gradual discretion of Abuja City. Green areas being built upon.
FCT minister says you people have other motivations.
Other motivations like what?
There may be political motivations. Maybe
like
you're being
what?
Sponsored by his enemies.
His enemies?
To attack him.
To attack him. So these facts I have marshaled before you, go and establish their veracity. As I told you, on my honor, I have no personal thing against the honorable minister. If you ask me where he has done well, where he has opened the access roads, we commend him. Where he asphalted potholed roads, we commended him. But where there are shortcomings, we also owe him that duty to point this out. We have no interest in his a political empire. In fact, we don't have such interest. We are not interested. We are concerned about the FCT, where we live, where our workers work, and they have raised these issues. And let me also shock you that the dump sites where they take our refuse to, they are collapsing. And they are being seeded out, given to people to build houses. So, you see, this is a violation. This actually threatens every one of us here.
Which dump site? Give me one. Which dump site did he give to somebody to build?
Metama.
The Metama dump site?
Yes. You notice decay. Now. You drive past Abuja streets. Stench. Garbage. And yet, this should be the jewel, the pride of the nation. Nigeria is not going to have a third chance. We moved out of Lagos for certain reasons. And we're replicating the same, if not doing worse now in Abuja. Why should that be the case?
I want to get your thoughts on the industrial court. Of course,
we
heard. I just saw the update that JUAC is going to appeal that judgment.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
They have appealed.
They've appealed already.
I have here.
Okay.
I came prepared.
So now that, pending that appeal,
Yes.
workers have to keep going to work.
No, and I'll explain this to you. This is the enrollment order of the court, and the parties to this are the Honorable Minister, Federal Capital Territory, Federal Capital Territory Administration, and Rifkatu Iyotie Abdullahi Umar Saleh. These are the parties. You cannot import other parties outside the ones recorded by the court. I stand to be corrected, but you cannot. These are the parties. They are not, in fact, their names, in fact, even their unions are not even stated. They're nothing. They've been taken in as individuals. So, I'm not bound. Those other ones are not bound by the interlocutory injunction of the court. But in any case, we have criticized the ruling of this. With all due respect to the court, we felt and still feel that this is one-sided and that there is no injunctive relief in the face of continuous commission of the offenses against the workers.
As we wrap up, what next? The appeal has been made.
Oh, sure.
Then what? Are workers supposed to still be going to work? Because we've been monitoring the FCT.
Yeah, workers are not banned, but I've just told you.
But they're going to work.
Oh, you really?
Some of them are.
I'm not aware. If one or two persons, out of intimidation or harassment, choose to go to work, that does not mean that the strike has been called off. Okay. As I speak with you, quote me, NLC and TUC are getting increasingly interested in the matter. You'll be hearing from us in the next coming days or the next coming hours. Yes, because nobody, no matter how highly placed, will be allowed to trample on Nigerians, on their rights.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson Upah, for being with us.
Thank you very
on
much.
Dateline Abuja. Good luck with all the work I know you have ahead of you.
Oh yeah, we need it. Thank you so much for your support too.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.